Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanwat-Cotillo. Today on the program, more government troops now deployed in Negros Oriental as the manhunt operations for the suspects in the Gamo slate continue. Lawmakers want to look into the possible security lapses on the killing of Governor Roel Degamo. And is there a looming change in Senate leadership? Senate Deputy Majority Leader Ejercito joins us live. The latest in the Gamo murder case. Authorities seize an assault rifle reportedly used to gun down Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. This comes as the PNP looks into the supposed absence of Degamo's security detail on the day of the attack. Meanwhile, Interior Secretary Benhur Abalos is urging the remaining suspects to surrender. More from our senior correspondent, George Cahiles.
Relatives of slain Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo once again expressed fear for their safety. They say suspicious vehicles have been roaming around the governor's house in his hometown, Shaton.
Takot na takot kami kasi maraming dito. May nakamotor, hindi lang yun sila. Kahapon yung may van na itim. Nakapag-report na kami sa Army.
More soldiers and policemen have been sent to Negros Oriental to keep the peace and capture those behind the governor's murder. Aside from manning checkpoints, additional forces will secure vital installations such as air and seaports. There are also soldiers who will be tasked to secure the relatives of victims and witnesses.
May chilling effect on the part of people kung ano ang nangyari. So, ang pinakagusto talaga natin is magkaroon ng kumpiyansa ulit yung tao sa gobyerno, that the government can work and that the government can solve the problem that we have here in Negros Oriental.
Okay naman, sir. Bakit po? Kasi kailangan din yung lugar namin ba na wala nang yung pangyayari na naganap dito. Gusto namin na mawala na yung mga ganitong patayan. Saka alam namin na matatapos din to.
Authorities continue to scour mountains in search for suspects still at large.
We know na hindi sila ganun kapamilyar sa bundok.
Parang possibility na nandun pa. Parang ganun lang.
Yes, the possibility. But we're utilizing lahat ng kaya para masusugan kung nasasan na yung apat.
Shaton Mayor Fritz Diaz, a relative and close ally of Governor Degamo, says the deployment of more uniformed personnel in Negros is justifiable. Diaz says the ball should not stop on Congressman Arnie Teves, who is being implicated in the killing of Governor Degamo. He said a syndicate is keeping a huge private army in Negros Oriental.
Yung iba politicians, yung iba parang core group nila. So every town may mga tao sila. Mani yung 200 na armed men nila. Mani yan. So daming pera nila. Sa bawat town, every election, spotted yan lahat na yan.
Diaz also alleges even policemen are protecting this group. The Philippine National Police has yet to give a statement on this, but PNP officer in charge, Lieutenant General Rodel Sermonia, had said they have begun cleansing their ranks in the province.
Simulan na po nating i-relieve yung mga dapat i-relieve, mag-undergo ng mga refresher schools, course and schooling.
Defense Chief Carlito Galvez said they are also after so-called tentacles of violence in Negros. CNN Philippines is trying to get a reaction from Congressman Teves' camp, but they have yet to respond to our queries. From Negros Oriental, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Let's go straight to the source of the story, Senate Deputy Majority Leader Ejercito. Senator, good morning. Thank you for joining us. All right, let's talk about the situation in Negros Oriental. Hundreds of troops deployed to suppress violence in the province and to look for remaining suspects in the killing of Governor Roel Degamo. Right now, overall, how would you assess the situation in the province?
Well, good morning, Ria. First of all, I'm really saddened with what happened in Negros, because Negros used to be a very peaceful province, and I I personally am a very good friend of Governor Degamo. That's why I'm really affected, and I'm so sad that this had to. He doesn't deserve, no, this kind of death. And I'm hoping that with the deployment of the troops and the Philippine National Police personnel, we're hoping that that the government can catch and apprehend all of these killers. And what is more important, Rhea, is to disband the private armies, no, all around the country, no, if there are still existing. So my assessment here is that there's a failure of intelligence from the regional and provincial level. Probably it's because of you can see that the way that Governor Degamo was killed, it was well funded. The equipment used, the firearms were sophisticated and expensive. At the same time, you can see the movement, Rhea, of those assailants. You can see that they underwent close quarter battle training, very coordinated. So it is well funded. Unlike the usual hitmen that they only use firearms that are really not this of high caliber and sophistication. So I'm hoping that the government agencies, authorities will really clamp down on Negros so that the fate of the people, that they can live at ease again, not fearing for their lives. Because it's so sad that the president has been marketing our country all over the world, saying that we are business friendly, but with this incident, that leaves a black eye, no, in this effort. So we really have to get to the bottom of it.
So from the private armies to the failure intelligence, Senator, we're going to go to all the points that you raised a little bit later. But do you think right now that a state of lawless violence or emergency should be declared in the area, or at the very least in the province of Negros Oriental?
Probably just in Negros Oriental, because we do not want to create unnecessary panic, no? Because other areas are not don't have this kind of situation. So we are encouraging investments, and we are trying to stimulate economic growth. Probably with the PNP and the other law enforcement agencies can just identify areas, hotspots that they can classify as red flag areas. So just like probably Negros Oriental is one example, no? And until we are able to probably change the whole police force there by weights, probably they're already under payroll, and as I mentioned, they are really well funded. So to remove that suspicion, I believe from the regional, from the police, from the provincial, even in certain municipalities, the entire police force has to be changed. No, so we can do it by weight.
Right. Earlier, I spoke to the Special Task Force spokesperson, and he said there's at least 300 more troops deployed to the area in 20 different areas in and around the province. Do you support this deployment of more troops to the province?
Yes, until we are the government is able to dismantle or neutralize these armed elements that are still remnants of this reign of terror. No? So until also, as I was listening, that there are constituents of the province that are really fearing for their life, especially those who are connected or related to Governor Degamo. So probably in the next few months, until we are able to really apprehend all of these remnants of these armed groups, then probably we can slowly go back to normal. But now, I support the deployment of troops and the PNP so that order can once again be restored in the province of Negros Oriental.
Certainly, tensions are running very high there. Now, last week, Senator, you visited the wake of Governor Degamo together with your other colleagues in the Senate. When you spoke to the family of the governor, what did they tell you? What did they ask you for?
Well, all they ask for is first justice, no? Because as I mentioned, Governor Roel Degamo is well loved in the province. He's a very simple person, unassuming. That's why, from what I observed, the sadness, the atmosphere was really filled with sadness. You can see in the faces of the people that were there, that they were really in mourning. No? So the only thing that we assured with the Senate President Nikubiri, Majority Leader Joel Villanueva, and other senators who accompanied them, that we will make sure that justice will be served, because Governor Degamo does not deserve this kind of death.
So let's talk about how the wheels of justice have been turning in this case. Right now, 4 out of 10 suspects have been arrested. Of course, the police say that they are looking for the remaining suspects. With the way things are going, are you satisfied with the progress and speed of the case?
Well, I am quite satisfied, because I'm at least 4 out of 10, or 5, because one was killed, or 4 out of 10 suspects are already in the custody of the DOJ, no? So they are already interrogating, so that we can get to the bottom of this. So we're hoping that the mastermind can be pinpointed at the soonest possible time. I'm hoping also that with the deployment of additional troops, that the remaining 10 other suspects can be apprehended very soon.
Senator, in a tweet, you said that 5 out of the 6 police escorts were not present on the day of the assassination. And you also said na hindi ito nagkataon. Tell us more about this.
Yes, and I was really surprised, no, to learn, to get this information, that the day that Governor Degamo was assassinated, of the 6 security personnel that were assigned to him, 2 were his personal escorts, and then the local government had 4 also to augment because of the situation. So only 1 reported that day. That was his cousin pa, no? That was his relative. He's the only one who reported, and that was probably the reason in Ria why there was practically no resistance when these assailants attacked the Gamo, no? So only 1 was there. I think he was the one who was able to hit one of the assailants. So that is really too difficult to say that it's a coincidence that 5 out of 6 security personnel did not report for duty that day. So that is another angle that the DOJ and the investigating agencies should look into.
So, sir, are you saying that outright may collusion yung police at saka yung mga killers ni Governor Degamo?
Well, again, it's very difficult to believe that it's a coincidence that 5 out of 6 did not report on that day that Governor Degamo was assassinated. And that's why I would recommend really a cleansing of the whole province, from the regional, provincial, and even certain municipalities, no, to change the personnel, the police force. Probably they are already under the influence, no? As I really suspect these people, even past to guard Governor Degamo, were already compromised, no? That's why authorities should really look into these 5 security personnel of Gamo who were absent during that day.
Okay, so when you say cleansing, Senator, ibig nyo pong sabihin na i-relieve lahat ng mga police in the area?
Yes, that's a top task, because according to PNP, that would mean 1,900 police personnel. So they cannot do it right away. So it has to be by waves. And I think they have done that in the past in certain areas that are declared hotspots. So in Caloocan, in Mindanao before. So I think that's the task right now, to slowly change the personnel, no, by waves. So from the regional, provincial, and municipal level.
All right, sir, we need to be taking a short break. Do stay with us. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwatco Trillo. Our source today, Senate Majority Leader J.V. Ejercito. Senator, welcome back to the program. Earlier, you mentioned that you feel there was a massive failure of intelligence on the local level and on the regional level. How did this even happen?
Well, that's the question also, Ria. No? How can some private armed groups exist and even have this kinds of training? As I mentioned, if you can see the movements of the assailants of the Governor Degamo, they were obviously well trained for this mission. That's already a failure of intelligence. It's very impossible for the authorities not to even suspect that there is something happening, with the presence of armed groups or with the maintenance of armed groups, and even having trainings of this type, should not escape their eyes if they were really doing the job. So I would suspect there was really failure of intelligence of the Philippine National Police, regional and provincial level.
So, Senator, do you think that the PNP is using their intel fund properly? You know, as the chairman on the Senate Committee on Local Government, you know that the Governor Degamo's death is not the first of its kind. There's been various incidents of violence and attempted murders among local officials. How concerning is this for you?
Well, it's a cause for concern because before Degamo's assassination, there was also an attempt on Governor Bombit Adyong of Lanao del Sur. Vice Mayor of Apari was also assassinated a few weeks ago. Also, in Lamitan, the mayor was also assassinated. There was also assassination in Lobo, Batangas. So, I'm sad because I used to defend the budget of the local government in Philippine National Police, and even though it was controversial, they always ask for intelligence fund, which is very, very controversial. And ang tanong ko, saan nila ginamit ito? This is quite a big amount that they could have used for intelligence operation. So, saan napunta ito? So that's the question.
That
are they using it properly?
Senator, are you going
funding their intelligence operatives properly, or these intelligence operatives are signed?
So are you going to have a review,
blind eye
sir?
because they are already compromised. So that we have to weigh in, Maria.
Right. So magkakaroon ba po ng review or probe into how the intelligence funds are being used?
That depends. So probably it will fall on the Committee on Public Order and Safety. And I'm sure Senator Bato de la Rosa would not let this pass. No, I would think he would call for a hearing on this matter very, very soon. No? So we just have to wait for developments. I heard anytime this week or next week, before we adjourn, there will be a hearing called by the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
All right, so that's this week or next week. Now, Senator, you've been talking a lot about private armies. Let's talk about the possible involvement of these. How many existing private armies are there in Negros Oriental and nationwide? Do we even have a number or an estimate?
Well, that I do not know. I was just relaying what the Philippine National Police authorities told us during a short briefing with Senate President Bing Subiri and Majority Leader Joe Villanueva. So they briefed us of the situation. So I'm just relaying. So I'm hoping to get that report. Hopefully, if there's a hearing, hope we can get the statistics or data on how many private armies are still in existence up to this moment.
All right, so then that's something that still needs to be looked into. Now, one of the suspects named, of course, in this murder is Congressman Arnulfo Teves. He's been named as the mastermind of the killing of Governor Degamo. But the lawmaker is not even here in the country. It was reported he's in the United States. Supposedly, he's since left there. Now he's somewhere in Asia. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I do not want to make any conclusion or judgment while the investigation is ongoing. I will let of course, the authorities, probably Department of Justice or the PNP, to talk on the matter. No? So while there's still investigation ongoing, we do not want to preempt the ongoing probe on the assassination of Governor Degamo.
All right, once again, Senator, we need to take a short break, but we will be back. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our source today, Senator J.V. Ejercito. Again, welcome back to the program, Senator. Let's talk now about the Salilig hazing case. We understand that more persons of interest are expressing their intention to surrender regarding the murder of John Matthew Salilig. In your view, Senator, who is answerable here?
Well, Ria, no? First of all, of course, as a parent myself, with the existence of the anti-hazing law, this shouldn't be happening anymore. And it's really sad, no, that a life of a young boy had to be taken away because of hazing. Now, I would say that, you know, these fraternities, we have to weigh, no? Meron naman, in fact, it should be fostering brotherhood, but it shouldn't come to this na initiation, then hazing. This has been happening and it's still happening. So we really have to look into this on how we can further tighten or give more teeth to the anti-hazing law so that this doesn't happen anymore. So no more parents would agree this way. Gamo also publicly condemned this incident, and as they say, the fault of a few shouldn't reflect on the whole organization. But I hope that they would really cooperate on this matter so that those perpetrators or those who were involved in the fatal hazing of Salilig could already be apprehended and be brought to justice. And we have to give justice to the death of Salilig.
So you don't feel, Senator, that all fraternities and sororities should be totally banned? Because it does appear that some frats aren't scared at all of the anti-hazing law. Well,
that is the reason why I think that we have to look into this, the oversight function, whether it is the anti-hazing law is implemented properly, and make sure that this doesn't happen again. So that if we can increase penalties and probably give more teeth to the law so that all of these personalities involved in hazing, dapat magtanda na ito mga ito. Hindi na sila dapat they should be scared also, no, that the long arm of the law will also catch up on them eventually. Hindi dapat mangyari ito. You are correct that probably there are some members. What I was told that there are some alumni, no, that who come into this ritual drunk, and they're the ones really delivering these fatal blows, no? So this shouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it makes it even more of a tragedy that you think these are the people who are supposed to know the law inside out and respect it more than anybody. So you are for amending the anti-hazing law, Senator, and increasing penalties, correct?
Yes, so that again, we do not want any more grieving parents, no? Sobrang sakit nito. Yeah, it's, as they say, it's heavier to lose a child than to lose a parent. So we do not want this to happen again. So we have to review anti-hazing law. And probably if we can add, if fraternities that are frequently doing this, no, so dapat ma-blacklist na talaga sila. So that if there is something like this in the law, they would probably then police themselves and be more careful in the coming years.
Right, with all of this happening, Senator, you can't help but bring to mind the proposed mandatory ROTC, because that comes also with a lot of fears of possible hazing. If the mandatory ROTC is brought back?
Well, I don't think that it's connected, no? Because I am because I'm a product of the ROTC. No, I did not get myself exempted, even though during that time my father was a senator.
Okay. Senator, the signal is not so good. You are getting a little choppy, sir.
ROTC has its benefits.
All right, sir. Sorry, we lost you a little bit there because the audio was not good. All right, sir. We just have a few minutes left. All right. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about the audio on our end, but hopefully we will try to fix that. But for now, we would like to thank Senate Deputy Majority Leader J.V. Ejercito for joining us here on The Source. Thank you, sir, for your time. And thank all of you for joining us here. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.